let's move on to something which is really refreshing. It's really positive and it's inspirational. As pollution soars in the national capital region and netas shy away from taking drastic steps to make the air breathable, a group of citizens at Gurgaon have decided to take matters in their own hands. They've decided to go car-free for an entire week.
The CEO of an IT company in Gurgaon, leaving for work with a cycle and a helmet in hand. Manas Fuloria has decided that he will leave his car behind and cycle to work this entire week. It's the car-free challenge he has signed up for, along with 400 others like him. It takes him 30 minutes to reach his office 6 kilometers away. It's exciting, he says.
This is just the ugliest part of our cities is the reliance on cars. It's great weather, it's great for your health, it takes the same amount of time. It's actually a much better way to get to work.
Latika Tukral, who runs an NGO, is another citizen who has decided to cycle to her office to send a message to the authorities to create space for cyclists and pedestrians.
All of us live in a radius of 5 to 7 kilometers. If I look at my day, I can move around walking and cycling, but need a better infrastructure. And that's the only purpose why we started this initiative.
With poor public transport and a virtually non-existent bus services, these citizens have decided to do their bit to combat killer air. But there are challenges and concerns. Safety is one, mindset is another.
The family is very nervous and scared about the safety aspect. So every time I get to work, I have to SMS or message back saying that I reached safely. So very often there's no place to park. So very often the hotels will turn you away and send you to the back entrance and all that. It's really shabby the way they treat cyclists.
With groups like NASSCOM and other corporate firms joining in, the car-free challenge is proving to be a breath of fresh air in the choking Millennium City. With Azam Siddiqui in Gurgaon, Rohit Wellington for NDTV.
Well, joining us now, a group of young professionals. They've all got their translucent sort of lime green uniforms, you can call it that. But they're all people who participated in this. We'd like to welcome them. Dr. Manas Fuloria, Manu Dangi, Latika Tukral, Sarika Panda and Nitin Seth. All of you, thanks very much for being with us. Manas, let me come to you first. What were some of the big challenges that you faced? I mean, if I was doing that, I'd be worried about traffic.
Yeah, so we have the luxury of just doing this for 1 week, and there are hundreds of thousands and millions of people who do it every day. And it's very, very unsafe. You know, it's absolutely, the city is designed around cars, and it's not, and if you look at all the other major cities in the world like Beijing and New York and London, they're reorienting themselves around walking, cycling, public transport, and we are still in the old mindset of roads built for cars, multi-lane traffic, really fast, very dangerous for walking and cycling.
Yeah. One of the interesting things which I saw in this story was if you wanted to go to a hotel, this was your experience, right? If you wanted to go to a hotel, then, you know, I mean, they say just come from the back because, you know, if you are in a cycle, then somehow you are not acceptable. If you come in a big car, it's a mindset issue, isn't it? Did you face this also in a hotel or?
So I faced it today. I
went you did? Okay.
Yeah. So I went to Crown Plaza. So I'm naming it actually. So they should better fix it tomorrow only. And I went for a meeting today and they didn't allow my cycle. So I was having a foldable cycle. So I called my driver. So I was feeling bad that again my car is getting used to pick up my cycle from the hotel. So this is the general phenomenon because what we are doing, we are sowing because if we are harvesting roads, that's why we are getting cars. That is the thing. So if the problem with us is we are doing exclusive development in our city, which is totally unsustainable. We are not sharing our road space. And the only thing we can make our city safer is by design.
But tell me, in Gurgaon itself, the reason you're having to do this is because bus transportation isn't as good as it should be, right? Isn't that the big issue? You don't really have bus transportation.
No.
Right. So tell us your experience. Did you cycle or did you walk? Or
so I cycled and I was one of the people who was in the...
Right.
I cycled, walked.
How much did you cycle for?
So yesterday I cycled for about 15 kilometers. It's not difficult. I mean, cycling is not the difficult part, it's the traffic. And more than traffic is the honking. You feel intimidated by honking. You don't know what to do. And I think the big issue which we are facing today is that no infrastructure in any of the, I mean, at least in Gurgaon we don't have. There is big roads are coming
in our country.
Yeah, but big roads are coming up, and we are making underpasses, we are making flyovers, but there is no planning, there is no thought about walking or cycling tracks in the city.
What about support from the government? Did you get that from the local administration? Did they say that thank you for doing this?
No, we haven't so far. It's an initiative which we all are taking up, but hopefully we are trying to figure out all the issues that will come up and then present to the government with, the gaps, etc. that we would, hopefully it will go from there.
What were some of the positives for you?
I think personally, I walked, and I walked almost 5 kilometers one way. It was definitely very refreshing, but it was also from a perspective of bringing that sensitiveness that when I am on the road as a pedestrian, how would the the folks in the car or on the scooters behave? So it obviously brings that point around
so
sensitiveness.
You went to walking?
Yes.
And what time did you finish at night?
I obviously had to leave early because
so that's the problem.
Yes,
safety, right?
It is not sustainable. One, it is not sustainable if you're walking from both security as well as infrastructure point of view. We are doing it for a week, but definitely transportation and connectiveness within the city is obviously an issue.
But doesn't it feel great to be part of an initiative where you have cleaned up the air just a little bit, but you have? I mean, that's what it's all about, right? It's actually about. We had Afroz Shah yesterday, the young Mumbai lawyer, leading by example, cleaning up Versova beach. In your own right, you are a bunch of people who've decided you didn't need to do this, but it's your own small contribution. So there's a big feel-good attached to it.
It absolutely is. In terms of the experience, it's a story of two parts. I think the good thing is that you feel like a missionary, and when I go to the office and I see when my colleagues see me, and some of them start start asking what are you doing, and then they also start walking or cycling next day. So that feels.
So
like
you've influenced some others to.
I think so.
Right.
I think so. Even if it's like 15-20 people in my office, that feels like a very, very good thing.
So 20 people in your office actually participated in this ultimately.
Yes.
And what were the overall numbers that participated in the last 1 week?
I think around 400 odd.
400 odd people.
Yeah.
And do you think this can be sustained, I don't know, next year, or why next year? Can it be sustained later on this year?
So, we have been working with the authorities for years to try to bring a more a less car-centric and more walking and cycling-centric view to the city. I think that if the administration sort of responds, we have built the demand side. We have tried to influence society through the car-free day, through Raghgiri, etc., to start thinking about this as an option. And
no, but are they not responding? That's my question.
The response leaves a lot to be desired. I think the intent is there, but it leaves a lot to be desired.
What did you expect in terms of a response from the administration? What would you have liked them to
I
have
would be
done?
more direct. This is not the first time we are doing this. We started doing this in September 2015. I think the response has been really lacking. See, this is a more fundamental problem.
But what would you have wanted them to do?
See, I would have wanted them to, build the infrastructure, build cycling tracks, move far faster on the public bus service. So there are 3 or 4 set of issues that we've been talking about now for a couple of years. And I think there's a basic issue with our planning mindset, planning paradigm. Our city planning is centered around moving cars. That is totally unsustainable from a pollution perspective, congestion, safety. We have to move to a new planning mindset, which is about pedestrians, which is about cycling, which is about public transportation. It's a big shift, and today I think we have not been able to make that happen.
Yeah.
And that is really the mindset shift that is very, very necessary.
Are you going to keep doing this in terms of getting out on your cycle more frequently, even if it's not like for 1 week off at a time?
I think I will. This has been very exciting. One has realized that it's not difficult to move around within the city. It's not so, the distance are not so much. It's just that you feel scared about your safety. You feel scared that somebody will come and hit you.
Yeah.
And big roads have been created, but with no infrastructure for pedestrian cyclists. And also, I think one of the reasons why we are doing this is to show how common man is living in a city. There is just no planning for them. 30 to 40% of our people actually cycle in a city, and there is no space for them.
So give up the car for the moment and get on to cycles or just walk. I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us, and congratulations on this effort. It's a small effort, but I think it goes a long way, and we are very glad here in NDTV to promote the work that all of you have done. And I use the word work, but it's also a little bit of fun, I think.
Thank you.
We are completely out of time on this program. We'll be back on Monday once again with the buck stops here.